Well, Rudy Alpha Investments. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Today is mid-August 2020, and simply put, today we're talking about the Cradle. I've had a ridiculous amount of people who just want me to have a small discussion on the card, so that's what we're going to do today. Let's get the obvious out of the way. Yes, talking about some people call it Gaea's Cradle, some people call it Gaea's Cradle, some people call it like Gaea's Cradle. I just call it the Cradle. I don't care what you call it. Let's just talk about this card from Urza's Saga. Obviously, facts out of the way first. It's a reserve list card. It's from Urza's Saga. It's only available in one booster box in Magic's history in the past 27. God, is really Magic approaching 30 years old? God, okay. So, obviously, it's only available in Urza's Saga. Technically, it's only available in non-foil because Urza's Legacy right after that was the invention of the foil variants. There is a promo version, or a Judge promo, foil, FNM. There is one promo version of a foil Cradle that does exist before they closed the loophole, and I think it was 2009 to 2010 when Wizards closed the reprint variant promo loophole to make the reserve list even more tight. That's where we're at. Okay, so those are the facts of the matter. Next thing you should be aware of, a box of Urza's Saga is essentially what? Geez, man, $3,000 to $6,000 a box. I mean, the amount of sealed Urza's boxes left in existence is extraordinarily low. And I know, go ahead, pause, make sure you thumbs down the video 2 times. Yeah, right, because Rudy has them all in his basement. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, well, only the 4th floor. So, those are the facts of the video right now. This is the card we're talking about. This is where it came from. This is the limited supply of the card. It appears that maybe every 2 to 3 years we kind of go through this. It's almost like deja vu. People were joking to me and patrons were sending me messages saying, Rudy, you should literally just take your videos from 2017 where you're talking about all these spikes and reserve lists. You should just not make any content and just pull all those videos down and just re-upload them and see if people even know the difference. That's kind of like the meme right now. So, yeah. So, from my perspective, I want to give you all my opinion of this, the Cradle situation. Obviously, this is a card with very high utility. It's played quite a bit. Everybody loves the card. It's extraordinarily powerful. There's really nothing at that. There's very little to nothing at that caliber of power level for a basic land. I mean, the card is an extraordinarily powerful ability. It's a basic land, so there's no casting cost. It doesn't even come into play tapped. I mean, it's beyond. It's like, I consider it the same level as like in the Library of Alexandria or maybe a Bazaar of Baghdad type thing. I mean, these are extraordinarily, or Mishra's Workshop, these are extraordinary top tier 1 reserve list, the top of the ivory tower type products. So, I remember in 2017 we were talking about the buyouts and everything where Cradle went from whatever, $100 or something, or when the Cradle had the first buyout, that pushed it to like $250 or $200 in around 2017 and drifted back, kind of stayed around maybe $200 range, slowly been drifting up over the years. Again, it's a little bit more difficult to track a card like this because of the supply. There's a lot more supply of this type of card on the market. Remember, Cradle is not a card that's really surprised anybody. This wasn't a sleeper card where, how do I say it? For 20 years, it had no value. This wasn't a card that started out like Bazaar of Baghdad and Arabian Nights were 93, 94, 95. Bazaar of Baghdad was like $10. Well, Jujam de Jin and, Library of Alexandria were already going up in price. Black Lotus from day one was expensive. Moxins from day one were expensive. Dual Lane, certain cards from the very beginning, people knew the value and the strength of the utility of the card. The Cradle fits in that category. This is a card from day one of Urza's Saga released. It was in the top 10 list of Inquest and Scry magazines and Duelist. This was a card everybody knew from literally 20 years ago in the late 90s when it came out. Everybody knew it was a powerhouse. So again, every time we go through these song and dance and we all kind of waddle around and prancercise in the park, we know the card is going to continue to go up. So when it goes from 50 to 100, spikes to 150, spikes to 250, spikes to the 3, 4, 500, and now there's an attempt to push it to 1,000, I guess I'm more surprised that many of my viewers are surprised. Does that make sense? I'm more surprised at other people's surprising reaction than I am of the actual card swing in the actual raw dollar amount. So, let's block out the raw dollar amount. And let's just go back to percentages. which is usually how financial people, anyone who handles finance, or just, anyone who does this kind of stuff on a more daily, obsessive, compulsive, lifestyle like me, they focus on percentages and yields and actual percentage swings, not raw dollar amount. Because right now it's like, Rudy, the Cradle was like $200 to $300 a card for the longest time for a minty one or a played one, and now it's $1,000. Wow! Look, first of all, Cradles are not $1,000. They're not selling. You can't go on eBay right now, hit Gaea's Cradle, press enter, hit sold listing. You see 1,000, or I guess you see hundreds of sold Cradles at $1,000. That's not what's happening. That data is not reflective on the open market. Now, again, maybe packed fresh. Maybe people are probably going to start grading this particular card because it's becoming so expensive. When you start crossing above that $1,000 or encroaching, when you encroach the big 4-digit number range from the hundreds to the thousands, it does start to become more of a gradable target because of the larger dollar amounts that change hand. Again, I still stand by, I'm not a fan of grading Urza's cards. I still think grading should be 4 horsemen, ABU only, and very specific, maybe outliers. But that's another video. So, percentage base, in my opinion, the Cradle was a $200 to $300 card. It's been that way for a long time. I've always told many people over the last couple of years I thought Cradle should be about a $500 card. And I thought eventually it would make a push to continue to drift higher, as with most old sealed boxes, as with most old reserve list cards. But we are in a major, major uptick bull market in the reserve list across the board. I mean, we have dual lands hitting record highs. We have substantial Arabian Nights buyouts. I've got a list of 7 videos that either need to be made or already made sitting in the video queue that I'm trying to catch up on the amount of buyouts and spikes, just to talk about, give my opinion on different things in different segments. But there's just so much of it happening right now, it's very difficult to really cover all of these particular things. Obviously, in the Cradle situation, a $200 to $300 card making a push to $1,000, that is a substantial swing percentage-wise. You're looking at 200 to 300% swing, which to me is highly unsustainable. I do expect Cradle to stabilize probably around the $500 to $600 range. It may already be there by the time you guys watch this video, since the delay is usually 1 day to 1 week by the time I get it on YouTube. I think the card will stabilize between $500 to $600. You can probably get more played and rougher condition ones for maybe that $300 to $500, but I think minty versions are going to hold that $500 to $600. So as with all buyouts, you're going to see the tremendous 200 to 300% swing up, which we did, the push to $1,000. We're going to have the 20 to 30% retrace, and I think we stabilize at the $500 to $600 price range, which is still extraordinarily higher than that $200 to $300 price point, which was extraordinarily higher than the $100 price point of each step up in this system that we do. So that's kind of where it's at. A couple little tidbits before I end this little video on the Cradle today. I do believe that long term it will eventually push over 1,000, but the most important variable I want people to understand is with cards like the Cradle from Urza's pushing to 1,000, which have a higher supply. This also, I want people to know at the end of this video is that cards like this hitting these prices are also what you all need to understand. If the Cradle's $1,000 card, you can't have Power 9 like unlimited Mox Pearls and Mox Sapphire, or not Sapphire, unlimited Pearls or unlimited Mox Emeralds on eBay for $1,300, $1,400, $1,500. You can't have a Cradle for $1,000 in a Bazaar of Baghdad in the Library of Alexandria for $800, $900. You can't have a Power 9 card at $1,500 when a Cradle's $1,000. Either the Cradle is overpriced or Power is underpriced. So I expect a substantial collateral damage swing, or as they call it, price reassessment, price ratcheting. We're going to see a lot of other impacts in the market because of this new reserve list buyout rippling through the system. And I hate to say it, but I think we're still in probably the first or second inning out of the 9-inning stretch of this new reserve list boom that's happening in 2020. I genuinely didn't think we would have something like this occur till 2021, 2022, but I'm very surprised in this economic uncertainty that this is really flared up. But it does look like a combination of stores rebuilding inventory, crypto, inflation across the board, money printing, new flashy stuff. It has all come together, and it is a perfect storm for old Magic cards to skyrocket. And I don't think you've seen anything yet. I think we're in for a very, very major uptick on cards. So hope you guys learned something. No FOMO. Stay calm on this stuff, everybody. Seriously. Don't let it get to you.